Hello and welcome to the Palsy Podcast with me, Ciaran Fitzgerald. I'm a playwright, screenwriter, and podcaster from South Wales. And seeing as March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, to mark it, I've decided to interview interesting people who have cerebral palsy from Wales and beyond every day in March. If you like this episode, please stay tuned for more throughout the month and like and share. Now enjoy this episode of the Palsy Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Palsy Podcast with me, Ciaran Fitzgerald. We're at episode 23, I think. I should have checked this before I started recording. I think we're 23 or 24. The number of this title of this podcast will tell you which episode we're on. If you're new to the Palsy Podcast is something I'm doing in March to raise awareness of cerebral palsy and cool people who have CP because March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month in the UK. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Abbie Hills. Hi Abbie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Happy birthday. Nice to be
Thank
here.
you. Yeah, we're recording this on the 22nd, which is my birthday. But yeah, it's cool to be chatting to you today, and thank you for giving it a Sunday to do this. My first question, I tend to kick these off in the same way. It was like, what was it like growing up with CP, and what were your experiences as a kid like?
Oh, very mixed, very mixed. I was diagnosed when I was two, because I wasn't really walking and my body wasn't behaving as it should have. I wore special shoes. I wore Pedro boots up until the age of about 8 or 9, and then was like super excited to get school shoes from Clark's. At the time, that seemed like the coolest
Mm,
thing ever to wear shoes like everybody else. Um, was never particularly like sporty or anything like that, but so I have ataxic hemiplegia that affects the left side of my body, but it does largely present as non-visible. So I feel
right.
like once I wasn't wearing Pedro boots anymore, it's kind of like everyone just stopped thinking about it. And I felt quite different, but I didn't really identify with why until probably like early secondary school then.
Did
Quickly
you did,
realizing,
did you ever use a walking frame or a chair or any mobility aids or
no,
anything like
no,
that?
I never used a walking frame, but I did have a wheelchair. I've still got it, but I don't use it. I used a wheelchair for a few months when I was at uni, but it was manual, and I just couldn't hack pushing myself. So I'd have to get other people to kind of push me and support me. So my journey with it has been, I guess, kind of in and out. Like I'll need a bit of support, and then it will kind of go under the radar. Then I'll need a bit of support, then I'll go under the radar. But now,
Yeah.
from the age of like 17, when I had my brain scan, I've now it's a lot more prevalent in my life, like as an adult, when I have to just
Mm,
function and just do adult things. And then also beyond that, like my kind of advocacy work around it
yeah.
and the community I've built is all really important. So it's more like at the front of my life now than it was when I was a kid, and I kind of push for more support for myself now as well.
And what was school like for you? Did you enjoy school? What were you good at?
Did I enjoy school? Yeah, I think I did. There's little things I hated, like PE lessons. I found really embarrassing. Um, Going up and down the stairs without holding a handrail. You know, when the bell goes and then it's just kids like running left, right, and center, and like
Yeah.
not being able to get to a handrail and stuff like that. And obviously, people would make some jokes and things about me, but I was, I found it all right, and I definitely became quite mouthy and a bit of hard work from like year 9, year 10 onwards. Had a bit of a rebellion phase, and I think now, like looking back on that, I think because I knew I was different, still didn't really identify with why or what made me different or how my body
Mm,
worked. I think I just kind of leaned into that in the way that I dressed and the way I behaved. And, I was quite a gobby kid. All I wanted to do was just hang out in the drama room. That's all I wanted to do.
So
So,
when did that interest in the arts and theatre and acting start then? Was it at school? Or-
oh, my interest, Ciaran, I think, after having such a dramatic entrance to the world with, with being like 8.5 weeks premature, I think I was always a diva. Like I always wanted to act or perform or write or like put on shows for my parents and always. And then I just it stuck with me to the point of being stubborn where I was just not interested in anything else. Science was a waste of time, maths was a waste of time. English I kind of liked because I liked
Mm.
writing, but I just wasn't interested in anything else. People grow up and say they want to like be a vet or a doctor or no, absolutely not for me. Like it was always working in entertainment somehow.
But did you think, oh, I want to be an actor, I want to be a writer, I want to be a director? Was that in your head?
I think I wanted all of it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think I wanted all of it. I think I was like, oh, I just, 8-year-old me, 9-year-old me, just got her shoes from a Clark's, was like she could take on the world and be like an international superstar. But yeah, I think it probably started with acting. Um, yeah, but it's always been in me that like wanting to work in entertainment, which I'm lucky for really because it's given me real drive and determination, and ambition and things like that. I've never had any confusion or doubt like around career and stuff like that.
And like, in a lot of people have spoken about the difference from going from primary school and having a good level of sport to going to secondary school and it all changing. So was that the case for you in comp when you went up to comprehensive school?
I
Oh.
didn't care about sport. I hated PE, but I don't know. I don't know if I
So,
hated
sorry,
it.
Abby.
Mm. Oh,
Support.
support. Oh, I I didn't really have a great deal of support then. I had physio until I was about maybe 7. Then after that, it kind of stopped, and then I
Yeah.
moved house. So I moved from literally like an hour up the road. But it's like the when I moved down here, I didn't have any support then. It's kind of like there you go, off you go. We gave
Get
you
on with it.
physio. Yeah,
Get on with it.
yeah, exactly. So I went from like I don't know if you've had this, but I remember like being like, yeah, 6 or 7 and having to try and stand on one leg while holding onto a frame and counting the apples, like 1 apple, 2 apple, like to count the seconds. And it just,
Mm,
yeah, that's the extent of the support I had. That was it.
that's so like you were just left to get on with it. Like
Mm,
no physio, no occupation.
yeah,
Wow.
nothing.
And people have spoken on this podcast about the drop off in terms of adult services, but the fact that you didn't have any as a child either, that's quite shocking to me.
Yeah, yeah, I actually went to Parliament on Wednesday, the Up CP movement, because they all of their work is around support for adults with cerebral palsy. And the reason we were there is because we were talking about and lobbying for annual reviews for people with CP. And like, I think that'd be brilliant because for me, like,
Mm.
even now, because mine presents as non-visible, I really struggle to like get support with anything. That I was having problems with my feet last year, and I got told, I had to really fight for I don't even remember the name of what's a foot doctor called? Whatever a foot doctor is.
Podiatrist,
Yeah, podiatrist.
pe
That's it. That's it.
pediatrician is kids, and I get the two mixed up. But yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm confused. And he took one look at me and he was like, "Yeah, you walk fine." I was like, "But I don't feel like I walk
Wow.
fine." Because I think how you feel it can be very different. Like,
Mm.
my body's working overtime, the same as anybody is with CP. But yeah, anyway, so never really had a great deal of care at all, really.
God, that's quite shocking for me to hear. But like then, coming to the end of school, how did you make those decisions about uni and what you wanted to do? Did you end up going to uni? Where did you go? What was that experience like?
So I started my uni journey actually in Cardiff.
Hey,
So I went to USW, but it wasn't really for me. I think I liked the nightlife in Cardiff more than I liked the uni. So
I went to USW. What did you do at USW?
USW, I did film.
So did Stapes teach you in Staples?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago
Oh,
now. It's
okay.
like 10 years ago.
But like you didn't. So what was that experience like? At the start, did you not gel with? Tell me about it.
I, to be honest, Ciaran, I was so hell for leather on wanting to party at the same rate as everybody else that was like my main interest. But actually the course wasn't really for me either. The course, it was very theory based and I wanted kind of some practical elements of filmmaking. So I dropped out and then I went to uni at Solent, which is actually really close to where I live. But
Okay.
it was commutable in the sense of like distance wise, but it would have involved like a bus and then a 15-minute walk. And at that time, my physicality, like I was struggling with walking and stuff like that. I mean, I still
Mm.
do, but I think I'm a lot stronger now. So, and I wanted to be in halls. I wanted the halls experience, and I wanted to like be
Mm.
able to like fend for myself. You know, when I started in uni and I was living in halls, I couldn't even cut a potato. Like I just didn't have the dexterity to do it.
Had you had the experience of living independently before? Was that the first time, and what was that like living independently, having that independence?
Um, yeah, because I've been living with my parents before then.
Mm.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I got annoyed when I couldn't do certain things, and you know, like I found it quite tiring, you know, cooking for yourself, washing your clothes, walking to the shop with your friends, walking to the pub, like trying to do the
Yeah.
social thing and live and go to uni and do the uni work, and later on as well, get a job and kind of hustle and network and stuff like that was a lot. Um,
Mm.
you know, it's a lot for anybody at 18, but I think it's especially a lot when you live with the condition that we have.
Like the amount of energy we use
Hmm.
comparative to neurotypical people. I've used 3 to 4 times the energy people with CPU use. So
Yeah.
trying to network, go to lectures, socialize, stand up straight, that's a lot when you've got CP.
This is why I eat like 5 meals a day, and I'm not even joking. I eat so much because I burn so much energy.
Mm,
I burn so much
yeah.
energy.
And like how did you like? I want to move on a little bit. So, like after uni, trying to break into the industry, what was that like? How did you find your way? Kind of.
It
Uh,
kind of started a little bit before for me actually. So I had my first job when I was 15, like little acting job. Um and I'd been going to like drama classes and stuff before then, and I'd done quite a few auditions for like really big stuff. So I'd always been networking and hustling and everything like that. And I think because I was so tunnel visioned on what I wanted to do,
mm,
my parents just really supported me with it. And like they, you know, they kind of did the safeguarding thing, but let me essentially just network and hustle and find my own opportunities. So by the time I was 18 and I'd made a couple of, well, by the time I graduated, sorry, and I'd made a couple of films and
mm,
got to know people on the scene in Southampton, I'd just really been networking and hustling the whole time. I wasn't really intimidated by going out into the real world because I felt like I'd hustled for it already for so long.
yeah.
I mean, that was like, you know, first job at 15, that was 15 years ago. I'm 30 now. So it's been a long old time. But I think I still wasn't particularly ready to. It's weird, like, despite me saying I've always known what I want to do, I think when I actually graduated, I was like, what am I going to do now? Because I don't know, like entry level film and TV position. I am I going to be able to do that, sustain it either on set for 12 hours a day or in an
Mm.
office? And then I was like, oh my God, everything I've always worked for is like not going to work. Blah, 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 blah. So I just sort of wanted to bide my time to think about it some more. So that's when I did a master's.
And like, did you have that fear because of like the access barriers that you
Mhm.
felt were there because the industry isn't really that accessible for disabled creatives still? It's getting better. It's still not great, is it?
100%. Yeah, that's exactly it. It was the access barriers alone. I was like, I'm not physically capable enough, nor should I have to, kind of go a bit underground with it and hide the fact that I have CP.
No.
But also, if I tell people that I have CP, I'm probably not going to get hired because let's remember, this was like 10, 12 years ago.
Mm.
So it was a really hard thing to do and a really weird line to walk, no pun intended, which I did struggle with. I did struggle with.
Great, we'll give you the job, Abby. Just walk in a straight line at the office.
Oh my God, that would give me the fear so much if that was a job interview. Could you imagine?
Can't be horrible. Absolutely. And like, I'm going to go back to my questions. So writing, like you've directed, but writing, have you always written? Is that something you've always enjoyed?
Yeah, I've always loved writing to the point where, like, when I was a kid, and my granddad used to keep these, I would just fill exercise books with stories, but not originals. I would like take all of the fairy tales, pick bits of them, basically steal all the ideas, mash it up, call it something completely different, and then I'd be like, I wrote a book.
But like into the woods style, like you
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
sound.
So I was always writing silly little things, always really creative,
Yeah.
always like walking around doing funny little voices. Yeah, loved it. And then was writing throughout uni and then it kind of took a bit of a back seat and then started in the last kind of year and a bit really taking it seriously as like a viable career option for me. So
What
that's a
kind of
journey at the
thing?
moment.
What kind of things do you writing at the moment? Shorts or
All kinds of stuff,
theatre,
really.
telly?
So I've got a feature that I've written. I've got two pilots for TV. Not so much shorts anymore, but I actually started writing a novel in lockdown,
Wow.
and she's collecting dust. I need to pick that back up again. But I was like, wow, it seems like a really great time to write a novel. So I got like 70,000 words in, and then I just kind of forgot about it. So that's kind of a commitment to myself is to have another bit of a look at that. But I just love world building, and I particularly love, I guess in some ways I'm a bit of a history geek. Like, my novel's set
Mm.
in the 20s, one of my scripts is in the 60s, the other one's in the 70s, and I love like music of the time, the culture of the time, and I love like
Mm.
geeking out on it and world building in that sense. So that's the thing that I really, really love.
And do you have a process, or does it depend on what you're working on? Do you have a set writing process?
Mm, I think recently it started with music. I think I get so inspired by music, and there's so many different like decades of music that I love and styles that I love, and so it doesn't take me long for my mind to kind of run away with it and just yeah. So that's always a good starting point, or even fashion, or I mean sometimes I'll just have a random idea, and then I will
Mm.
just I don't really plan. I don't think the ADHD in me likes to plan too much. So I just tend to like I'll probably get a notebook and I'll like draw. I don't draw by the way, so this is funny. I'll like draw what I think the characters will look like and kind of visually create it rather than
Mm.
like doing a beat sheet or plotting it all out. And then I'll just get totally into it.
If you're anything like me, I don't know where the ideas come from. They just like
Yeah.
appear. And you're
They
like, oh,
just the
yeah,
ideas choose
or
you, don't they? The ideas
yeah,
choose you.
absolutely. And when people ask, how do you come up with ideas for what you write? I'm like, I don't know. They just happen. They just
Just
appear.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I can't explain it. Um, so, um, you also have a talent agent. So how did you decide to go into that and set up the Dazey Hills Company?
That was quite an organic step for me because I was doing my masters at the time and I didn't really know what I was doing. Um, but I knew all of these amazing talent people and like I was
Mm.
always recommending people for staff and connecting the dots and I thought like I could make 10% off this. No, but I seriously like I knew so many talented people in my area who maybe there was a barrier for the whole kind of London scene or the larger scale agencies to kind of get involved there. And that like barriers annoy me anyway, like disabled or not, I think it's just the most frustrating thing. And so for me, it just made sense to be able to kind of do something about that. Um, I think I'm really good with people and I can really, all of my clients are really different. And I think that I can be quite a good chameleon in the sense of communicating with them how they need, understanding their journey. And I think that is one of the skills of being an agent that you have to master because not everyone's journey is going to be the same. So yeah, that was 7 years ago that I did that.
What do you look for in a client? If someone applies to you, what kind of actor do you like to work with? What qualities, what?
I think you have to be genuine and obviously like let's take performance out of it because you have to be good. Like you have to be
Mm,
believable, you have to be good, you have to be great actually. But for me, like the other qualities are you have to be authentic, like you really do. You have to be yeah, genuine, you have to be loyal, you have to present yourself in a way like I'm a real straight talker. And so when somebody like takes them around the houses and it's like, can you just be genuine. I'll
yeah.
be much more impressed with you if you're genuine and straight up with me. You don't have to sell me all of the things you've done and like, because I can see the talent side of it, but I have to be able to
Mm,
get on with you as a person.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to want to get up in the morning and hustle and try and get you work. Like if we don't get on, it's as simple as that. And probably the same for my clients as well. They have to get on with their agent. Otherwise,
Mm.
it's a strained relationship and you can't have that. You need to have flow.
You need to understand each other and be working towards the same goals, I suppose.
Hmm.
And what have been the challenges for you from setting up the agency to now? What has that experience been like? What have you learned?
Challenges. Well, like
Yeah,
pretty much a year after I started, it was COVID. So there's
I was
that.
gonna
And
say,
yeah.
yeah.
And then a couple of years after that, there were writer strikes. And then the industry is just kind of changing a lot. So there's all these external things. And then there's like one of the biggest things is because I started it so young. I started it at 23.
Mm,
Um, and it's a real it's relationship heavy and it's reputation heavy. And so in order to gain the trust of people to start with. Obviously, like, I signed a few people, signed a few of my friends as well, because it's what you do when you're
yeah.
starting out and you're helping them. But building that reputation and getting the trust, because, some of the agents have been in the game for longer than I've even been alive. So
Mm,
how do you position yourself to be like trustworthy, genuine, somebody that can actually work for you and get stuff done, work with you and get stuff done, has the right contacts. So all of that, like I knew my worth from the get-go and I knew what I could do, but it's proving that to other people, isn't it?
mm. And did you feel any sense of like imposter syndrome? You said you knew your worth, you knew what you could do, you know what your talents like. But did you ever feel, oh, I'm only 23, like how am I, was that ever
Yeah.
a feeling? Yeah,
All the time. Like even though I knew my worth and I was confident in it, you still have those moments. I think it's human too.
absolutely. I'm gonna move on slightly. I was reading your website, reading your bio, and the project that struck me was a short film called Immaterial. So can you talk about that idea, what it's about, where did the idea come from?
I would love to. So I took a break from producing for a while actually, and so Immaterial is the first short I produced in like 4 years, maybe more. Yeah,
Mm,
maybe more actually, which we shot last year. So my friend Alexandra, she works in well-being, and she's an intimacy coordinator as well. And she writes, and
right.
she wrote this short film that she was going to direct. And we had a Zoom. Well, let me backtrack. We met on a panel at BFI Flair, and we just instantly um, hit it off. Our values are very much the
Mm,
same. Our position in the industry is the same. As women who are creatives, very much the same. And we just really really vibed with each other. And then we were talking about her project, that she was directing, and I was ever the hustler. I was like, oh, I've got a brilliant client to play the lead, you know. And she was fantastic as my client, Holly Higby. She was the perfect casting for Naomi. And then yeah, I just went in as producer, and I was quite scared at the time. I was like, oh, can I do this after this much of a break? But we worked really hard on it together. Alexandra also co-produced. We did it together. We
Mm.
shot it in a weekend at a flat. Like
Man.
people really there for the love of it. We made it on under 10 grand. And now it's kind of doing the run. We've pushed it out into the world of the film festival, so we'll see who likes it. Um, but I'm actually taking it to the Cannes Film Festival short film corner. So
Oh,
it's
cool.
yeah, it's really great. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So what that means is, so it's not part of the official competition,
Mm.
but Cannes, they run this like adjacent lab basically, where all day they've got the short films on a loop, and you can go and choose which short film you want to watch, whether you're a cinema lover, financier, producer, whatever, you can go in. So it's really cool that it's going to be there, and it's kind of the first place people are going to see it is in the south of France,
Mm.
which is wild. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's a real, it's a hard hitting drama. It's really gritty and really emotional. And it's a challenging watch, actually. It is a challenging watch, and I'm really excited to put it out into the world proper.
Is there a way that people can watch it if they can't get to Cannes?
Not yet. We haven't released it,
Right.
but there will be. There will be.
Please keep me updated with that. Like, just off the back of that, with producing, how much of the challenges are actually getting that funding in place, particularly for short films? Do you think
Mhm.
there is enough funding to support up and coming filmmakers to make their first or second shorts?
No, it's really hard. There's only a select few kind of platforms, and ours actually, so it was privately funded in portion, and then we effectively crowdfunded the rest of it on Greenlit.
Right.
But yeah, there's not. It's really really challenging, and had we not been able to privately fund, I think it would be totally different. It would be a
Mm.
totally different film. But yeah, there's not. There's so many barriers around filmmaking. Um, it's all well and good for people to say, "Oh, just go out and shoot something at the weekend with your mates," but we all know that sometimes that's not the reality, and particularly if you live with disability as well, it's not that simple.
Mm.
It's really not that
No.
simple. So really grateful for how we pulled it together. But yeah, the funding system in general is flawed.
And it's hard then for people to break through into the industry to start making features or go into telly
Hmm.
if they can't make their own work at the beginning. Because I don't know if you were told this, but I was always told in uni, oh, make your own work, write stuff, film it, make it.
Hmm.
But you get to a stage where you can do that for free as a student. But once you graduate, it's a lot more challenging than, and then with the added, like you say, extra energy and extra costs of being disabled that you have to factor in.
Definitely. No, I couldn't agree more.
And you've also been working with Rosie Jones and the Rosie Jones Foundation. You've made kind of a documentary short. Can you talk a little bit about that? How you got involved and what you've been doing?
That was so fun. So I met Rosie a few years
Mm.
ago. I was supporting the Creative Pathways event, which is actually coming up soon. The next one's in Leeds. And it's kind of I guess 2 day, I think it's 2 days, workshop for young people with cerebral palsy from the age of like 14 to 24, I think it is. A whole host of workshops about, mainly the creative industries, but it's a super fun day. So we met on that. And then we just kept the conversation going, kept bumping into each other at events. And then we found out that we had the same type of cerebral palsy, and we were both
Oh,
gobsmacked. Yeah, yeah, because
really?
yeah, so I have like I said earlier, I have hemiplegia that affects
Mm.
the left side of my body, but it's ataxia, which is just kind of the back of the head. But
Mm.
we'd found out that something like only 5% of people with CP have ataxia. So Rosie was like, I have ataxia. I was like, no way, I have ataxia. And then it was really cool. So
Yeah.
she came down to, because she had a show in Southampton where I'm from.
Mm.
And so we went round the New Forest, we did some filming, we went and had a gorgeous lunch in the pub. We just like had a lot of banter around our
Nice.
ataxia. And that was how the video was born, really, because we wanted to kind of identify our similarities and lived experience, and also, I guess, kind of support each other within that. And you know this, like having friends with cerebral palsy when you have cerebral palsy is so important. It's so
People
important.
who people who get it, people who you can like just be yourself around and so and
Hmm. Hmm.
they don't they just get it, they understand, and
Hmm.
it's that shared unspoken thing of yeah, what it's like, and that's even when the experience is different in terms of, I mean, we can talk about severity, which
Hmm.
as I've seen on this podcast, it looks different for everyone. Like no one's affected exactly the same, but I think we can learn a lot from each other,
Hmm.
and you take little tricks and tips from different people, little bits of accessible tech that you can get to make
Yeah,
life easier that someone's maybe found. But it does make a difference for people around you who get it, I think.
100%. 100%.
And have you found, like you mentioned, that your CP is less visible? Are there particular challenges around that you find? Yeah, what are the? I didn't really know how to word this question, Abby. Eh,
Mm.
But like, are there particular? Do you know what I mean? I'm not really making much sense.
No, 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 I hear you, like challenges with it and stuff. Like I so I guess if I'm having a quote unquote good day, whatever the heck that means, I present like a like a brand new working sports car. Inside, I feel like I'm falling apart and I need to go to a mechanic. But because you can't see it, like
Mm.
people assume that I'm fine, and like that's not necessarily the case. And I think I have to work overtime to kind of match the two up. And I think like I have experienced a lot of ableism over the years. And you know what? Some of it's been internal as well. Some of it has been internal because I'm like, well, you look fine. Like I that's a really outdated thing for me now, but I definitely believe that over the years.
And I don't know if you get this, but like comparing yourself to maybe your mates who are not just able, or like,
Hmm.
oh, why are they doing? How can they do all this now? Like
Hmm.
that is really tricky to deal with the internalized
Yeah.
ableism of am I disabled enough? Am I
Hmm. Am I
lacking
disabled
in
enough? Yeah,
enough?
that's I think that a lot. And then like, it goes to the other side of it where you beat yourself up. So
Yeah.
yesterday I've been away on and off for like a month. Like, I'll tell you what, train line must be making a killing off me, the amount of trains that I've been catching. And I don't, because it's quite last minute, I don't always book passenger assistance. And some days I do feel like I can manage my staff fine and everything's okay. And other days I don't. But long story short, yesterday when I'd come home and it was my first day at home for ages, I was so deeply, deeply exhausted, like deep, deep fatigue. I'm sure you get it, and a lot of people
Yeah.
listening as well. And it was so frustrating because it was like my mind was so, so active, but my body was like, nah, mate, we're tapped out. So
That
I was,
is the worst.
yeah, I was
It's the
resting all
worst.
day, but I was too awake and too active to be able to sleep, but too fatigued to like concentrate on a task, kind of a bit too sensory wired to even deal with the noise of the TV. And I don't know what I did. I could not tell you what I did all day, because I just, it was just this like, almost like this functional freeze state
Mm.
where I couldn't do anything, but sitting and doing nothing was absolutely unbearable.
And do you get frustrated with yourself on occasions like that? Because I do. Because I think, oh, why am I
Mm.
feeling like this? I
Mm. Yeah, I
should
was
be doing
fuming.
it. And yeah, it's
Hated it.
really hard.
Yeah, I was so grumpy yesterday.
And it's like, as someone whose CP is less visible, have experiences where you're not believed, where you get that kind of
Mhm.
ableism from people.
Yeah.
It must be really difficult in a different way, I
Oh, I can't
suppose.
stand it. It's so exhausting. And I even had it in the taxi the other day. Like I was chatting to a taxi driver about cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Oh, you really inspire me with your," which obviously like made me sick. I hate that. I don't know if you hate that as well, but I hate that.
I hate that
And
passionately.
yeah, and then he went with your condition, and he went, "I don't want to say
Um,
disability because it doesn't disable you." And I went, "Oh, gonna stop you there. I actually identify as disabled, and I find
yeah,
it quite
yeah.
empowering." And he didn't really know what to say, and I've only just started to speak up like that because, like, who are you to tell me that like the thing is sometimes it's meant as a compliment, which makes it even worse. There's no kind of
No,
good way about doing it. But yeah, I've had it for all my life, really. And even inflicted on myself. I think there was a point when I was in my early teens, there was somebody in my tutor group who also had cerebral palsy. I think he had diplegia, he had it in his legs.
okay.
And I was like, well, I don't have cerebral palsy because he's got it. And he's got it like the proper one. And I don't
Mm,
have the proper one, which, young me, even I didn't know the whole spectrum of it. And I felt like I wasn't able to identify because it presented in a way that was not enough, like not
mm,
disabled enough. And, I saw the struggles that this kid went through and like even the bullying and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't have that. I don't
that's
I don't
not
have
me.
that,
Yeah.
but I have something, but it's not that. And how can it be that when it's called the same thing as my thing, but it's so different? And yeah, I just went in loops and loops and loops about it. And now that I've grown up and it's become more of a part of my life and I know more people with CP and it is a huge, huge part of who I am, as well as, doing work and accessibility. Like I see it totally different. But yeah, for a while, like the worst judgment probably came from me.
And that's horrible to deal with, that internalized ableism. Like, I've
Mhm.
spoken on this on other episodes about how sometimes, like, because of previous experiences, going into conversations with the assumption that people are gonna patronize me, assume that I've got a learning disability because of my speech, and then over trying to. I don't know if this makes sense, but trying to prove myself in those
Yeah.
situations, overemphasize my intelligence. And so that comes from internalized ableism, which is awful to deal with.
Mhm.
Like, I think if there was a bit more understanding of CP and the fact that it is a spectrum condition, I think people would be more accommodating, and then we would hopefully feel less of this internalized ableism.
Mhm.
The last thing I'm going to ask you, Abby, is a difficult last question. What is one thing that you wish people knew about CP?
Oh, one thing that I wish people knew about CP.
Only one.
Uh, there's so many things. There's so many things. That it's lifelong.
Hmm.
That it's lifelong.
That's come up a lot. The fact
Mhm.
that services drop off once you reach 16 or 18, the fact that there's very little research into CP in adults, the fact that there's no physio, no OTs, no speech to
Mhm.
language therapy,
Mhm.
and there should be, right?
Mhm.
There should be.
100%. Our bodies are going to change. I already feel like since I've turned 30, I'm already experiencing stuff that I didn't have 10 years ago. We
Hmm.
age, we're going to age differently. There's a chance we can age prematurely. There's all of this stuff. So, yeah, people need to know that it's lifelong.
And that thing of being told when you're younger, oh, CP doesn't get any worse, it'll stay the same, but not being told, oh, with the impact of aging,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
might experience different symptoms as you get older. just communicating that, I think, is really important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, it's common knowledge that we burn energy like up to 4 times as fast. And so in like real basic terms, if you've got an iPhone that's working 4 times as fast than everybody else's iPhone, then it's not like that the iPhone is going to get worse over time, but the impact is going to,
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing. Like you need to be careful of it because other elements of the phone might wear out because the battery's knackered. Same kind of
that's
thing.
a really good analogy, a really good analogy to finish on. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's
Thank
been
you.
lovely to catch up. Thank
Oh,
you for listening to this episode of the Palsy Podcast. All the previous episodes are still available to watch and to listen to on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And I'll be uploading a new episode every day for the rest of March. So please stay tuned and please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and send me any questions you have to ask any future guests. But for now, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Abbie. Goodbye.
bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Palsy Podcast with me, Ciaran Fitzgerald. I want to thank my guests for joining me, and I hope that you'll stay tuned for the next episode and more throughout March. Thank you.